Hey, Nick.
Hey, Chase.
It's that time again.
What time is it?
Time for
Fuck This Place!
Feels great. I know everyone says that.
I always enjoyed your tweets.
Well, yeah, there's a specific kind of someone who is disillusioned with comedy generally enjoys my Twitter.
Or society. I think yours went pretty broad.
It
wasn't just
I'm
comedy.
pretty grumpy. Sometimes I've read them before, especially a little bit high, like when you're high enough to sort of disconnect from your presuppositions about everything. And I've just scrolled through my timeline only and been like, this is insane. Like, if someone met me and looked this up, they'd be like, oh, no. Like, it's because it's all kind of like in response to the general current of what's happening in part of Twitter I'm most plugged into.
Sure.
So like,
yeah,
out of
there's
context, like, what the fuck are all these tweets? I'm like, oh, they're funny if you see them mixed in with a bunch of comics that annoy me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Although, I don't know. I'll intro us since we're here at the podcast. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Fuck This Place, a podcast about jobs with Chase and Nick. My name is Chase.
My name's Nick, and with us today, our guest is fantastic comic Rick Wood. Rick, thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
How you doing?
I'm all right. I
Nice.
guess just another day in paradise.
I can see into your studio here. It's very nice. And I saw before you got rid of social media, you were playing guitar a lot more. I've also been playing guitar a lot more during all this. Like,
yeah,
you got a bunch of
music
guitars
has
back
become
there.
more of an outlet now.
Of course. It's a cool studio you got.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's just a little kitchenette area of my studio apartment. And there's it's like a hallway. This is about 6 feet, from this computer's pretty much on the fucking wall. And then, so it's about 6.5 feet max. That's really pushing it. It's 6.5 feet on Tinder wide and about 20 feet long. Maybe it's like a hallway. So everything to this side of me is just like a sink and a stove and a fridge. And then on this side here, where a normal human being would probably put a cute little breakfast nook and have healthy meals to start their day, I've built some kind of sort of slapdash recording space.
You have a skull. Is what you have.
Yeah, I got some Halloween decor.
No orange juice. Just skull. Yeah. So, if you are typically, most people just listen to the podcast, but you can check us out on YouTube. You can see everything we're seeing right now. But for those who are not watching, it's a recording studio. It's what it looks like, but very well framed.
Some foam on the wall. Yeah,
absolutely.
There's an eye for style here. This is the year of my life where it's finally right before all this quarantine shit happened. I was like, man, I should make this apartment look cool, like a movie character's apartment. I'd always see a movie or TV and go, why the fuck, how come I never live in anything that looks this good? You guys cassette decorators.
Yeah.
When you buy everything at once and make it, but then me and my wife split up and I kept this apartment and I was like, oh, this is it. This is your chance to buy all the shit and have it match. Yeah, you're finally, you're 36. You can afford to get a couch that matches the chair. And I did it all.
It really is like those set decorators. They're good, man, because they put like 2 or 3 things around. That none of them have any use, but they look great. I've been watching a lot of Queer Eye.
You don't get to start your life like that. Like when you turn however old you are when you leave your parents' house, and then everything you have is just like it's like a video game. It's just shit you've accumulated through quests. I had a couch just because, like, I helped a guy move a bookcase or something. He's like, "You want this couch?"
100%.
And I had this grandma floral pattern couch for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then finally, I was like, "All right, it's time to. I'm buying a big yellow couch. I just have."
This is definitely a conversation about decor with 3 dudes because we have talked about just buying couches.
That's all we know is
couch.
If the couch is one color, that's like a bold move.
Yeah, very uneducated conversation. Again, I've watched so much Queer Eye, and this is as far as I've gotten.
Did you guys sell furniture places that aren't IKEA?
Well, Rick, we should get it at the very least. We should get to our first segment that we do in every podcast, which is a segment we like to call "Fuck This Place?" where we look at Craigslist posts and we decide if we would work there or not. And so we looked up some Craigslist from your neck of the woods. This is actually the Norfolk Craigslist.
Hey, that's
you're from
Portsmouth.
Yeah.
It's like 7 cities, Hampton Roads. It's a bunch of cities banded together to be a legit area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, they're like a gang. Like none of them could win a fight alone.
I love that there's no shame. Like in North Carolina, I'm from Asheville. There's like the triad, the triangle. Like in Eastern Tennessee, there's like the tri-counties. To me, 3 is like a fine way to name a couple cities, 3 cities.
Yeah.
But 7 feels like, wow, we really are stretching.
Hampton Roads is really like a lot of cousins out there. Well, my cousin Norfolk wants to come to the party. And Suffolk's gonna be there, and Portsmouth is gonna have to come. So you might as well have it.
7 cities. You can just name every city in the state and just say, "Well, here we are, the 15 cities."
Yeah, that's like more cities than Utah has that are worth mentioning.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we looked up some jobs from the Norfolk Craigslist, and what I'll do is I'm going to read 3 titles. We'll pick the one you don't want to look at, and we'll look at the other 2. I have a little screen share.
All right.
So the first title for the first possible gig is Virtual Store. Title number 2 is Lead Singer Wanted. We got a studio in here. And then the last one is Now Hiring Henna Tattoo Artists. So which one do you not want to look at? Virtual Store, Lead Singer Wanted, or Now Hiring Henna Tattoo?
I feel like we got a pretty good idea of what a henna tattoo artist is up to. So let's not look at that.
Let's let them go.
Okay.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty good point. There's really there's nothing that a henna tattoo artist does that we don't know about.
Yeah,
We've seen the operation.
Yeah, can't imagine it's more than 2 steps.
Although I'd love to know what people in Portsmouth are getting hennaed on them.
Maybe we can take a quick there are some photos, if I recall. We can take a quick peruse after we're done here. Okay, so our first job, let's take a look at Virtual Store in Portsmouth, they claim. And starts I know that nobody ever cares about this, but the grammar is a nightmare on this whole thing.
Yeah, this is real. Like, God damn, I haven't been back to this area in about 19 years, and it's really sinking in. It's hitting hard. Yeah.
Okay, it's like the same guys in charge.
Yeah, oh my God, you guys are still doing it, huh?
So this person says, I need a virtual store to list about 17 items, just 17, from t-shirts to headphones. All must have my logo, and they must be reachable on 4 different platforms: GoDaddy, OnlyFans, YouTube, and IG. I assume they mean Instagram. I'm going to finish the
I period G period, both lowercase.
Yeah.
There's only one more sentence here. It says, I only have a couple of weeks. Would like to have it done by July 4th, if possible. State your price. 757, text or call Joe for info. Then he puts the numbers in. Must have experience and work fast. And then the last numbers. And diligent. And that's the post.
Yeah. Like experience and work fast, the year 1855, and diligent.
Well, it's obvious what he's doing, the Craigslist trick of putting. We've been on Craigslist too much, Rick. But
split the number up.
Yeah, you're splitting the number up so that Craigslist doesn't catch you. Which the crazy thing is, you could put that number into the reply.
Yeah, and not come up with like a riddle for the rest of us to have to just to get a job with you.
Yeah. What I mean, what is he
selling?
I feel like this person got dropped off from 1992, and someone briefly explained how to get on the computer.
Right.
It's like, fuck, all I got is these like t-shirts and these headphones.
Yeah, it's like you definitely like
store. This is so much more boring. I don't know what I thought a virtual store was gonna. I thought it was gonna be some kind of like hipster bullshit
or some dark web stuff.
Yeah, something like it was an actual space. Where
Well,
they pretend,
I do think
like
your time machine theory is not far off, because I do think that this person has a fundamental misunderstanding of how almost every part of this process works. Because yes, virtual store, but also all must have my logo. It's like, are you selling this stuff or am I making this stuff for you?
Yeah, what does he want? I want to talk to this guy. I might call him actually.
What do you want?
I might do
so
a
it's like-
spin-off of your show where I call these ads.
We've talked about having in the field reporters.
Yeah, what is going on with this guy?
Maybe for the Patreon in 10 years.
OnlyFans. Like that's the
Yeah. that's the
GoDaddy
platform.
isn't even a website, really. I mean, they
It's
have a
a-
website, but it's a website that sells websites. So it
Correct.
doesn't even make
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it's
for
like
those who
he
don't
asked.
know,
Yeah, it's like he asked a homeless guy for 4 random websites. He's just like,
Hi,
And
bub.
these are
How
the
do
ones
you
you can-
sell shit online?
go
No,
there.
I want to sell it to your little My Little Pony friends and shit. Yeah, those readers.
I think that this person, here's my guess, that this person, why is July 4th? I mean, I understand that like, and this podcast might actually come out just a hair after July 4th. I don't know. But like, what, why July 4th? My thought is this person's very dumb, and they actually have a bunch of like American flag stuff, and they're just trying to sell it like real soon.
I got
How
6
useless
American
it's all gonna be on
flag
fifth.
Speedos. I need to have sold.
Yeah.
That.
Oh, there is one other thing I forgot that it says compensation to be determined.
They
So-
can't spell it.
Uh,
I don't even
So
know
I
what the fuck I'm asking for, so I don't know how to pay for it.
Yeah. He's like, actually, it's Dietermand.
it's my cousin Dieterman.
Hi, I'm Toby Dieterman, and I was hoping if you could help me set up my virtual store. I've got everything from t-shirts to headphones. All have my logo, and it must be reachable on 4 different platforms: GoDaddy, OnlyFans, YouTube, and IG. I'm worried about this person's self-esteem as they've not capitalized the personal
Anything.
pronoun of I.
They've not capitalized anything from start to
Yeah.
finish. I don't see a
Phone
single
will do
capital
it
letter.
for you. I guess
Um,
you're using a keyboard. And a
This
computer.
this person is named Joe, or they have an accomplice named Joe.
Uh-huh.
Again, I'm no expert, but I would just think that you would want to put in one link to anything that you do or are, so that we could
If
know.
I text Joe right now,
You can give it a whirl if you want. You
think
got
we'll
that?
get a response by the end of the podcast.
It's possible.
I'm gonna say, I don't know what Joe would have to say. Like, I don't think there is anything Joe could tell me for me to do this job. I'm out. I don't want
Yeah.
to sell like have him yelling at me on the 6th of July about his American flags that we can't sell now.
They're worthless.
Yeah.
Come on,
Just getting
come
these
on,
long
Joe. Have some pride.
emails with no capitalization in them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to say no. There's no compensation of any kind. He says if possible, state your price. But again, I don't think Joe's got the money. I don't think that Joe's got the money to pay you. So I'm going to say no.
texting Joe right now. I've texted him.
Okay, great. Let us know if you get a buzz back.
Yeah, I said, hey, Joe, looking at your Craigslist ad about the virtual store and wondering how many different products you're looking to list and who will ship.
Oh wow.
Mhm. Oh, wow.
Yeah, you really
Let's see what
got
we
specific.
find out. Yeah.
Joe's
Who
like,
will
oh,
I-
shit. He's gonna start scrambling looking for answers.
I do
So
like that you asked who will ship because I feel like that's a nice detail that only a serious person would ask.
Yeah, I want to know what the hell Joe thinks the internet is.
He's gonna be like, "How did you find me?"
Yeah, wait, what? Why?
Like
Where'd you get this number? And I was going to say, I pushed *69.
Or like he just shouted this into like a Taco Bell drive-through, and then somebody else put this on.
Wouldn't that be funny if there used to be kind of stuff like that at the beginning of the internet, like stores, like we sell your stuff on eBay, which was a joke in 40-Year-Old Virgin. But there's stores like that where it's like, you're a boomer who's terrified of the internet, but has a lot of crap in your garage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I am a savvy Gen Xer who's the smallest piece of retail of commercial, whatever real estate available. Now you pay me 20% to sell your rollerblades on eBay.
Yeah, it's true. There was an era of the internet, well documented in 40-Year-Old Virgin.
I'll internet for you because I have a nose ring, old man.
Well, in the meantime, I guess we'll say fuck this place. And
Yeah, I don't really want to work for Joe, but there's nothing going on these days, so now I'm texting Joe.
we'll see if Joe hits back. Okay, so next post is lead singer wanted.
Hell yeah. Oh,
And-
no.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
this is the town I really grew up in.
In Chesapeake.
Chesapeake, yeah.
Oh, that's great news.
Oh, wow. I went to school at Western Branch High School.
Really?
I went to high school with this guy.
You think so?
Shit?
For sure.
Oh man, that's great news. Okay, so, okay, so the post begins and it says, less cowbell, formerly more cowbell, which is great.
He doesn't want to get into it.
People who still think more cowbell's a fun thing to yell out. There's a certain kind. They manage a tire store. They didn't leave the town you grew up in. They're still dating Jessica, and it's going to end in a murder-suicide. Like that seems like more cowbell. That's up until that came out. The only funny thing you could scream is Freebird.
100%.
But
Yeah.
now there's more cowbell, so I yell that at a band at a bar.
I also love that they have enough awareness to know that more cowbell was at one point a good joke or a joke. And now they're like, well, let's ease up on more cowbell. Like,
yeah,
we need
people have had enough. It's less cowbell.
or you know what they do? Here it is. This is my theory because we'll finish this sentence. Less cowbell, formerly more cowbell, is looking for a new lead singer. Here's what happened. Maybe the lead singer left and is like, you can't fucking call yourselves more cowbell.
More cowbell is my idea.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then the guy was like, I don't care. I'll come up with my own thing. Watch. I'm gonna come up with the best thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
1 week later, less cowbell.
Just the best. Oh God. Okay. So we'll start reading again. Ability
I found
to.
a Virginian Pilot news article about their band.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll Google them in a minute.
I wanted to see if I knew any of these because they're probably a little bit older than me. But let's hear the ad.
Ability to play guitar is a plus, but not a requirement. Okay, so they're okay with a charismatic, just lead singer that doesn't contribute
What if
in any other way.
I want to call him? What if I play the cowbell? I sing a little, but I really just play the cowbell.
Listen, we're doing less of that these days, is what they would probably say.
I know, but I'm thinking maybe things are probably going better when you had a prosperity mindset.
Yeah, but Gary holds the rights to more cowbell. Gary just like mailed the name More Cowbell to himself in '96 or whenever that sketch came out. Okay, we play mostly blues and classic rock in an electric acoustic mix. Sounds like every white guy band I've ever seen. But we'll consider anything you can bring to the table. Okay, you're just a singer. What else are you bringing to the table? We practice in the Western Branch area of Chesapeake when gigs are scheduled. We play about once a month and don't do late night bar gigs.
What?
They've got boundaries.
Well, so where do it like?
Well,
I
here we
guess
go.
it's early. Okay.
We're all middle-aged with day jobs.
Okay.
We do paying gigs and occasional charity work. We are in
this
this
is
to have a
so
good
sad.
time, and you should be too. Now, there is one thing I should point out. They just said we do paying gigs and occasional charity work, right? And then compensation says no pay.
Okay.
None.
Just
nothing.
I'm reading's about a charity event they did. Or this.
Is that what you're reading?
Nothing going on back in 7 cities. The Virginian Pilot has written a very lengthy article about Les Cowbell from 2009. We got to pick a job out of these?
I mean,
No, you can
no.
hit them both.
Yeah, it's very, very acceptable. That's frequently what happens.
Yeah, I think I
Almost.
got time in my life for both of these gigs, actually. One of them could be my side hustle. Joe says, call, I'm driving.
Oh, Joe.
Oh, jeez, Joe.
I mean, I'm gonna
No,
let you
I
off the hook
can't.
there.
This
Come
this
on,
was all
buddy.
about just him trying to get you to call
Yeah.
this whole time.
Joe just wants to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Man, I don't want to talk to you on your Cricket wireless flip phone.
Also,
Jitterbug trying to post Craigslist ads about a virtual store.
don't
Got
text
the
and drive,
Nokia
Joe.
brick.
Yeah, so guys. So these are middle-aged dudes just playing. I think it's pretty great that they take money, but you don't.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's weird. Well, they're like, well, we have to buy guitar strings, and all you got to do is drink water.
I do appreciate their openness of you bringing anything to the table. I would say, I feel like they covered everything pretty well with blues and classic rock and electric acoustic mix.
We play a lot of Fleetwood Mac. That's basically what they're saying.
Yeah.
Right?
100%. Yeah. But I just think like a vocalist, what else could they, what could you bring to the table just as a vocalist. And maybe if you play guitar, you're like, well, I'm actually quite very good at other instruments like banjo or sitar or something. But if you're just a singer, like you are
tube and
lashed.
throat singing.
I do think it's strange that they don't do late night gigs of any kind.
They're middle-aged with day jobs.
For sure. But if you got a day job,
Taco Tuesdays, sorry, someone else is gonna have to play the Huey Lewis in the news cover.
Yeah. It's like weird that they're like really pushing like we're in this to have a good time. You should be too. It's like, are they batting down people that are like, no, I'm trying to make it.
I think so.
I'm trying to be like the next big thing. It's like, no.
But you think you're gonna be Clutch? Yeah. Get out of here.
We're just here to have a good time. We're old. Just like keep putting that out there.
I do. I guess I if that is their actual truth, then I could see how they would want to advertise that, because maybe, you get a young whippersnapper in there who's just like, I do metal.
Yeah. Or he's like, comes in, his pants are a little too tight for them or whatever.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
God, I'd love to see like a fucking kid moves. Well, someone from my town, I know this guy already, like a kid who grew up all into like Norwegian black metal. He's got like the long hair and the trench coat and the rings that are like a suit of like the Lord of the Rings and shit with the armor. That's not going to play at the Waterside Yacht Club.
I'm saying fuck this place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to be in this band.
Yeah, I don't want to be.
They don't play at bars.
Yeah,
drink coffee and play in the daylight.
I think they do. I think they do that a lot. Just to defend them a tiny bit, they said they don't do late night bar gigs. They might do, the afternoon shift at the bar.
Day drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get into music to hook up with the kind of lady who goes to see a classic rock cover band in the daylight hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the brunch special brand.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear Skinnerd before 5 p.m.
Oof.
Yeah, so we're gonna say I for so many reasons, but in particular for their lack of understanding of how comedy works when it comes to less cowbell, more cowbell.
Less cowbell, formerly more cowbell. That's the worst way to start anything.
Yeah. Also, I understand why they said less cowbell, formerly more cowbell, because their previous name was funnier than their current name. Yeah. But
we used to play late night bar gigs, but then we're like, hey, let's less cowbell.
Yeah. I'm just saying, just let your name stand on its own, bud. I don't think anybody cares about the joke anymore. Okay, well, I'm gonna say fuck this place. What's up, everybody?
What's going on, guys?
Wanted to remind you that you can text the podcast anytime you want.
Night or day, whenever the hell you want.
It's fine. It's the number is 470-BAD-JOBS. The actual numbers are 470-223-5627. That's the number.
So yeah, anytime you want. Like I said, middle of the night, whenever. We don't got jobs right now. Whatever's going on with you is going on with us.
I mean, absolutely. Maybe you still have a job and it's shitty. You can tell us about that. Maybe you don't have a job and it was shitty before.
Maybe you're getting one of those weird temperature forehead checks right now.
For sure.
You want to pull out your phone and just say, fuck you guys. I'm going to text 470-BAD-JOBS.
470-223-5627 is the number. That is the number. And you can also call us if you want, but I mean, whatever. It's your choice. That's the point here.
Rick, what is the first job you ever had?
Was working as a prep cook and dishwasher at Amory's Seafood in Portsmouth, Virginia.
Oh,
Amory's Seafood.
A strip mall restaurant. I mean, it was a nice restaurant, but it was in a strip mall.
Sure.
It's been there forever. And
still there?
No, gone now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you started there, it had been there forever.
Yeah, it had been there for a while. It was kind of it was a good little hole in the wall. Nice-ish.
How old were you when you first started working there?
I started when I was 14. I would go in, and my mom was a waitress there, and I'd go in and work in the kitchen when someone was too stoned or fucked up on mushrooms and go through their shift. So
bring in Rick.
Ricky likes to work. He likes to make money. If I wasn't mowing lawns or something. But it was the first show up and put on a uniform.
Right.
And at first, I'd just work under the table. They'd give me $25 and a chicken sandwich.
No.
And I'd make
14-year-old,
like
that's a good gig though for a 14-year-old.
Yeah, I
25
was
bucks
just
and a sandwich?
excited to have a job. Like I
Yeah,
got my own
yeah.
skateboard and stuff.
Right. I would imagine that happened, if someone was too drunk or stoned or whatever to show up for, like, that happened
lot.
regular enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were working
those
40 hours a
kids-
week.
Pretty much. I mean, it was quick. I started picking up a lot of hours there that summer. And then they were like, "Do you want to be a bus boy?" And you made more money.
They were like,
Yeah.
hey, actually, the bus boy is also stoned. Do you want to take that job too?
That's
or-
pretty much what happened. It was always girls before. And they're like, "He's got long hair and he seems soft. Let him be a bus boy."
There's like the assumption as like a kid or just like a person entering the workforce anew is that like people are going to show up for their jobs, and that just isn't the thing.
The dude who I got that job because he missed coming into work, this kid Tucker, like real smelly, like smelled like a hippie.
Mhm.
Just this was the 90s, so like the 60s were kind of having like a revival. Like Woodstock in 94 was, had happened, and this is like 97, maybe 96, but this kid Tucker just didn't show up. I guess everyone's like, he's out in the woods doing mushrooms. A bunch of kids that got mushrooms, and Tucker was a casualty of mushrooms that weekend. And
never saw him again.
He showed back up, and I just finished doing his shift basically, and he just shows up like late, stinking like the forest and mushrooms, wearing like a brown and blue tie-dye Grateful Dead shirt.
Yeah.
Just nothing sadder than like a 2-color tie-dye shirt. We're like, that's it.
That's true.
Minimalist
Get a third.
tie-dye. Come on. Brown? That's your tie-dye? Like if the pride flag had brown in it, people are like, you folks aren't fun at all.
Yeah.
He just shows up all haggard and shit, and this guy Travis, who is the head line cook, he doesn't even look him in the eye. He just like flips a burger. It kind of like side eyes him, and Tucker's grabbing his time card, and he goes, "Don't even bother clocking in, because you don't fucking work here no more."
Yeah.
And he just walked out of the kitchen, and everyone's like, "Travis is so cold. He just fired Tucker like that." I was
Tucker
like,
just went back into
do
the
I come in
forest.
tomorrow? Yeah, he just went and got more shrooms. Probably was like finger fucking and shit in the woods. I'm like, oh, look at me. I'm so diligent. I'm making Tucker's salads. Should have been on the mushrooms.
You earned your place.
It is.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny to think that like Tucker, they were like, well, Tucker, you've been replaced by a 14-year-old boy that we think is soft.
Yeah, pretty much. He has to wear his hair in a ponytail to make this. I mean, everyone did back then. It was grunge.
Right. Who's the guy who fired Tucker? Like
Travis.
Travis.
What a
was he like the
fucking line
manager,
cook,
or was he
man.
just some guy flipping burgers?
He was some dude started working at that place when it opened as a kid, when like the old man had opened it was in the kitchen, and now it's just this rich guy who sits in his office like doing blow or whatever. But now Travis was like a 30-some-year-old dude. It's like you're just like, oh fuck, man, you're just this like legendary line cook. Like you fucked all the cute waitresses, and then they all went on to college, and now it's just a bunch of old ladies here, like my mom and you, and I'm making the salads. I guess you could try and stick it to old Jess Lilly if she's ever gonna stoop that low, but that's about all you got, Travis.
Wow, what a place.
Those were the days. Fun as shit though. I'm sure he figured it out. I mean, when you're 14 working in a restaurant, everyone's a fuck up from high school and skating in the alley after work. Yeah,
that's true.
There's
a lot of fucking around.
Fish. It was a seafood restaurant, so that's a real like. No one likes you when you're the guy who smells like fryer fish.
Yeah, that's true. I assume we got a lot of. I mean, did you get a lot of tourist traffic or a lot of local traffic or
just locals? Yeah, like old like Red Hat Society ladies loved coming in on the weekends. A lot of old people who just like gumming their crab cakes. Yeah, real gross. Bunch of like old Yeah, I wouldn't want to hang out with anyone who ain't there.
Yeah.
Fair.
But working there was kind of fun. One time we threw a plunger in the community pool across the alley, and man, we got in a lot of trouble for that.
Yeah, because it's like a health.
Yeah, they had to shut the whole pool down.
Yeah.
I didn't realize like when you throw something in a pool, it's like they're like, we got to drain that whole pool,
Especially with
so
poop
what?
in it.
Just fill it back up. And like, it takes like 3 days to fill the pool. It's like, oh man, we've really fucked up.
There was a community pool?
Yeah, it was the Churchland swim club. Well, it was like you had to pay to be a member of the pool.
Right.
You probably didn't have to pay that much, but to everyone I grew up with, that was rich folks shit.
Yeah.
Like, even if it was $12 a month, it was like, that's way too much money.
Yeah. And so it's a pretty big pool then. Like,
yeah, it was a large pool. It's like some shit from like Sandlot when he fakes the drowning to make out with Wendy Peppercorn.
okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we just hucked like it was basically one of those joints, and someone, I
What
didn't
time-
do it.
When how did they find out that was it during the day you did it? Like how did
It was
people
like the
know?
middle of the night. We
Mhm.
just like hucked a plunger over the fence.
Uh-huh.
And
But then how'd they trace that to you?
Well, because there was a florist, an auto parts store, and then the seafood restaurant that's back patio was always full of derelict teens swearing and smoking.
Okay,
they
yeah.
figured it out pretty quick. Hey, where'd that plunger come from? Was it the two 45-year-old men trying not to kill each other at the AutoZone, or the fucking 88-year-old florist? Oh wait, the teenagers who won't stop swearing on the stoop.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Super fair.
Also,
Yeah.
it probably had like Amory Seafood written on the fucking plunger. 'Cause no one
Yeah,
was
like in
smart.
permanent marker on the handle.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
said
we weren't
Rick.
in AP classes and working at the seafood joint. Yeah, it's like had my phone number on it. Trying to get some stuff listed on the internet. I got everything from headphones to sweat socks.
How long were you
So
there
were there
for?
any
Working there,
Yeah.
I worked there like 2 years. Then on my 16th birthday, I got a summer job detailing cars at a. So I was 16, and everyone at this job was like 40 or something. It was just this teenage. Like it was a job like blue collar men had to support their families or their bachelor lifestyles, and then I was just like a child doing it because someone I knew worked there. I was like, "Do you want to detail cars all summer?" I was like, I want to make money."
Was it? I assume it was better money than busboying.
Yeah, it was pretty. I mean, it was still probably like minimum wage or something. I think I made like $8 an hour, maybe $7.50 or something. But I worked 40 hours a week, which and then, like, on Monday through Friday, it was like crazy. I feel like a man.
Yeah.
Buying toys with it and shit. So I was like buying guitars and stuff all the time. Not saving for
coming home at
my
5 o'clock
life at all.
Just coming home at 5 o'clock to like play video games and like put new grip tape on your skateboard.
Yeah. Just
I'd
crack
get
open a
home all
cold Dr.
tired
Pepper.
and shit, pretty much. My brother would be like, "It's your turn to mow the lawn." I'd be like, "I'll fucking work for a living." I'd say shit like that. You mow the lawn. Hey, you ain't got no job. I gotta go learn Rush songs on the bass guitar.
This is my free time.
I'll say, so that was your first job. What would you say is the worst job you've ever had?
Well, I telemarketed for about 4 hours and quit.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was probably the worst. That's a pretty easy worst. Everyone's done that.
Yeah.
That was
Same.
one where I was just standing around on break. This is pretty judgy, but like everyone working there, I was like, "Fuck, I don't want to be any of these people. I don't want to be friends with these fucking dudes." I mean, I hope they're all figured out, but it was just like everyone was like a fucking grifter, kind of. They were all just like, nobody had like, that wasn't anyone's first choice of nothing. There was one guy that we wore like a suit and he was ambitious, the ambitious telemarketer. It's like, oh, you think you're going to run this scam one day? Like,
Yeah.
and I was just like, nope. I don't want to have anything to do with this world or these people. I don't even want to know their fucking name. I was like so stuck. I was like, no, you guys are trashier than I'm ever going to be. So like, I'm walking. And the guy was like, "You could be pretty good at this." I was like, "Yeah, I could be good at fucking shoving Legos up my ass and shitting them out too, but I ain't going to practice that." I'm getting out of here, man.
You could be pretty good at this if you could just manage the pain of it somehow.
Yeah. But the longest job I ever did for any duration was I worked in a steel factory. like these big rolls of steel, like looked like a gigantic roll of like duct tape or something. Just a coil of metal had to be cut into various widths and thicknesses. It's like a machinist basically in this big factory type. That job, I mean, it was just like no windows, just a bunch of forklifts riding around in a metal building, hot, loud. Everyone was just like this, like grizzled, like no matter how much they wash their hands, there's always machine oil on them. Like most of the guys were missing part of a finger, and I was like, "Oh, you guys are like, you got cleaning your gun while your daughter's boyfriend comes to pick her up, guys." Like, it's like I don't think I'm cut out. You know, I'm like not touching the shit as much because I don't want to lose my fingers because I'm still playing guitar all the time. Like this every day I just would like imagine like just turning the car right into a semi. I was like, just 6 inches on the wheel and I don't have to clock in tomorrow.
How long were you working there?
Hard fucking like 3 months, not even that long. Then one of the machines broke down and they didn't want to replace it, and they're like, well, we got too many people, you're the new guy.
And they just fired you?
Yep. And I was like kind of bummed out. This was I lived in Wisconsin at the time.
Okay.
I'd lived there for a few years, just happenstancely.
What got you into the circumstance of needing that job?
I was living in Chicago with my fiance, and then we moved to Wisconsin and got a house and got married. And around that time, I was like, well, I guess I just got a job out of the paper. I was like, I guess I'm not going to be a fucking folk singer or whatever I thought I was doing in Chicago. And then, so I just went, I was like, I guess just do what an adult does and go on the paper and get a job. So I got a job in a factory, in a house.
Yeah, like baby's first big job.
Yeah, I was like, give up on your dreams and become that guy who's always fucking yelling at everyone at the bar or whatever. You know, step one, work in a factory, get a house, marry this woman, maybe we'll have a kid, you know, do all this normal, boring shit.
This is like a Bruce Springsteen song.
Yeah, it was kind of what that was like my selling out moment. And then I was like, I hate this fucking job. I'm going to kill myself. I got fired from that job. And then my friend who is in music, fucking the guy who wrote The Future's So Bright I Gotta Wear Shades, lived in this town. And then we just became friends from hanging out, playing music. Cool guy named Pat. And I was like, I got fucking fired today, man, at some music thing. And he goes like, yeah, didn't you hate that job? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, oh, so congratulations. I was like, oh, I guess he's like, yeah, just get a different job. Like, don't do that anymore. I was like, oh, cool. All right.
You're all right, Pat.
Yeah.
You're all right.
So yeah, we just hung out and played music for a couple of weeks. And I got married. And then I started like cooking in a restaurant and met one of my best friends there. So. You know, sometimes getting fired is pretty cool. It's scary at first, though.
So, what was your actual job at the machine place? Like, you said that this machine broke. Were you assigned to that machine?
Yeah, well, this other guy like ran that machine by himself, and I was the assistant for like the main machine, the big one. And when the other one broke, they just made that guy like the new assistant. I would help this guy.
Right.
This guy. Fuck, what was it? Elrond or something? He had like a elf name or Elon. You know, God, I want to say his name was Elon, like Elon Musk. But anyway, he was a nice guy, quiet. But he'd set up this like cylinder would have these knives on it that were like the size of like a giant washer, like a disc. And then you'd space those out. You get an order, you know, be like, all right, we need so much steel in this width, so much in this width, so much. So then you'd sit down and figure out the math, like, all right, you can get this many widths of cuts out of this one raw stock piece of coiled steel. And so then you'd set the machine up to like, it looked like a giant tape deck, basically, like the shit spooled from one side onto the other. But in the middle, it would get cut, you know, lengthwise. And then, you know, you'd take one really wide coil of steel and then get like 6 not so wide coils of steel after it. And you package them up. And then those get fed into other machines in different parts of the factory to make like ashtrays for automobiles and shit like that.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Thrilling.
Boring manufacturing. Yeah.
It's like taking big steel,
shit.
making it medium steel.
Yeah, you could get about 4 minutes of dirty jobs out of that place.
What were the people who you like? Did you ever talk to people you worked with, or was it very? I mean, it's just like loud. You just didn't fucking like.
Well, it wasn't too much to talk about. There was only like 5 of us, and one guy was never really around. There was this one really old guy who just like all he wanted to do was fucking retire and get his pension and go fish. I mean, he just, all he knew how to do was complain about it. Everyone else was fucking up and just be like this tough old man. But he was pretty cool. It was just like he didn't say much else. He listened to music. He was the guy who had the radio on all the time.
Tight.
And then just like boring, like mom stations, basically. Not even classic rock. Like Sheryl Crow would always be
like
on.
Soft rock and shit. Hell
yeah. I remember one time Strong Enough by Sheryl Crow was playing, and I was like packaging up like a big pallet of like steel we just cut, like doing some Bruce Springsteen shit. And then I'm finally listening to the lyrics of that song, and I was just like, damn, Sheryl Crow can write a fucking song. This is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then this other guy, all he did was talk about his Apple stock all day. And
Apple stock.
Yeah, he bought stock in Apple. He was real excited.
Like a bunch of shares.
He probably had like 3 shares. Who knows?
Yeah.
You talk about it all the time.
Your like life has a lot of like moments where it like feels like Forrest Gump, where like you're kind of always around this person that we go on to know later on. Like you're like, yeah, I knew the guy that wrote that hit song, and then I worked with this guy Elon something.
Well, I meet him after they do anything.
Yeah.
That'd be funny if Elon Musk was the steel guy.
You're just like, yeah, I did this, learned to fight from this guy Steven Seagal something, but
I showed George Bush my penis.
yeah.
This guy owned Apple stock right before they came out with the iMac.
Yeah, it was right before the iPhone, so he must. If he held on to it, he did all right.
Mm-hmm.
And then Elron or Elon, whatever his name was, he never said anything. He just would tell me how to do the job. He had a couple kids. He seemed like a religious guy with kids. He reminded me of a Mormon, kind of, in a good way. Like he just
maybe
had
it was
quiet wholesomeness.
It was L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah, probably. His son hiding from Scientology in a steel factory.
He's hiding in the steel factory.
So you found it in the newspaper. Did you have to interview, or they were just like, fucking come on in here?
Yeah, I had sent in like a resume and had an interview. I was in the Air Force for 3 years, and so they thought like I was gonna be a genius or something.
Yeah.
That's what a factory wants. Oh, he can sit and do bullshit and take orders.
Right. Oh, because that's what I was curious about. Because like, I mean, I'm definitely not the same person as you, but I mean, I've certainly looked at some of those jobs and been like, I just can't even get, like, those people aren't even going to look at me. Like, just based on what's on my resume. But it makes sense if you got the Air Force on there. They're just sort of like, hey, you know systems and things. You'll do stuff we tell you to.
I was like also like 24, just swinging for the fence, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone else in that town just worked in a factory or something. So I was just like, fuck it, I'll just go work. I just thought that's like anyone could just show up and work in a fucking factory. It kind of could. You can do fractions.
You for sure did.
Yeah. So. It went for a while. Yeah. I'm glad that ended. Because I'd have just kept doing it and stayed miserable.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, at that for sure. It took me a long time to be like, oh, you hate your life, you should change it. I just thought like if everything sucked, you're like, you should be happy to have a job.
Right.
Doing or just stay with someone you don't really like. But you should be happy they like you. It's like, why? Just be alone, unemployed.
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, we always close the podcast with 3 questions. The first one, we kind of know, we're already in that territory, is when were you done and how did you quit? We know that you didn't quit. You were fired because they lost a machine and didn't like you that much. But as far as when were you done, so you're saying you didn't really have any inkling of like, I should or could get out of this.
I knew I hated it, but I didn't know what the fuck else to do.
Sure,
I was always amazed when I had a job, which is dumb. Like I'm a good worker and I'm smart and how to do things, but I just don't know how. I'm just like, man, if you got something, hold on to that shit because I don't know how. I never pay attention to how I ended up doing anything. I think it's like a magic trick every time. I'm like, don't put the rabbit back in the hat because God knows what this hat is up to. You may never see the rabbit again. Hold that rabbit. That's your meal ticket. And so I pretty quickly, like the first week was fun, like any job. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm making all these machines and shit. Then I started getting cut by the steel, and it was like a pain in the ass, and it just like was horrible. And I was like, God, and I was just tired. You had to wake up at I had to wake up at 4:30 or something to get there on time. It was like half an hour from my house, and I mean, like with no traffic, just like straight.
Oh yeah, just
like a
straight
25-mile drive.
Yes.
Go to somewhere I hate so early in the morning with people who don't talk. I was just like, this is, and then I'd come home. My wife at the time, she's just like, I've never seen you so unhappy in your life. And I'm like, yeah, this sucks. This is a fucking worst job.
And then you went to cooking after that.
Yeah. I went
Back
to
to
cook
cooking.
at a restaurant for a few months, and then got a job in the old folks' home in that town, cooking in their kitchen.
Tight.
Pretty depressing. You don't realize it's depressing just to watch people get old and die all day until you quit. But also like that job. But after leaving, I was like, oh wow, yeah, it's not normal to watch people at the end of their life every fucking day.
Yeah, no.
Unless you work.
And it's for a specialized personality at the minimum. At the absolute minimum.
Yeah,
okay, well
I
the
did
question.
Enjoy some of that though. Anytime
But
you can
like
make something where you're like, you start and then you're finished. That's what I like. Where I'm like, the food is done. And then the people like the food. I feel like I'm feeding them. I'm like, this job has meaning. Like if I don't feed them, they'll be hungry. So
That's true.
Instead of just like other things I've done where I'm like, I don't know where the fucking steel goes. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. Well, then what's like? I mean, as far as the steel job goes, what's one thing you took from that very bad job?
Some people fucking like work really goddamn hard. Not that they automatically deserve respect, but sometimes when I'm talking to someone, not to generalize, but a lot of people who like fucking make steel or whatever the fuck's going on. That's like, those tend to be like your conservative people, which that's not my politics. And you're arguing with them. And I'm like, I got to remember I'm talking to someone who just thought about killing himself all day over a factory machine. I can't just be like, intersectionality. I was like, I'm gonna get hit with a fucking rock. So I do. The part of me that harbors the delusion of reaching people, making change, still appreciates that. A lot of them. Hey man, I know life fucking sucks. And it's like, all right, I'm listening.
Combo empathy.
Yeah.
/ I don't know, realistic picture of how.
And I learned to drive the shit out of a forklift at that job.
That's cool.
Which helped when I worked at Home Depot later. So
for sure, forklift driving is a skill.
Yeah, I learned that in the Air Force. I guess that's how I got the steel job. But the steel job, you had to to flip the donuts of metal around, like the coils of steel was a lot of. So that's some advanced forklift technique there.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of maneuvering. You're not just moving pallets around here.
You're balancing a lot of shit on one. Yeah, there
This
wasn't
isn't just
pallet
doing
work.
donuts.
No, we're scooping up steel. God, sometimes one would break and it just come uncoiled like a metal slinky getting out of control. And you're just like, well, that's this afternoon. Fuck.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then, last question, and it's a little bit bigger picture. Is if you had to give up on your dreams, which the truth is we've all kind of given up on our dreams right now because comedy isn't real.
I gave
you had to
up
pick
on comedy like last week.
So
I'm
long
done.
If you had to pick a new job or a new direction, what might that be?
You know what I'd like to do, and I don't even think it's a real job anymore. I think being the postal carrier in a small town would be nice, like a coastal town in Oregon, population 400, and then you're just a fucking mailman.
Like everyone knows you kind of mailman. Like you just walk up, they're like, "Hey, Rick."
Yep, I'd get a dog, and I'd have a mailman, and then I guess I'd have to figure out some kind of lady situation. Trying to date in a small town is a nightmare.
It's no good.
I'd just come back. I mean, I'd still be cool. I'd be like a cool mailman.
Yeah.
So I just make trips down to Portland or LA to meet ladies. I dabble in stand-up comedy. Isn't that a great way to meet ladies? Stand-up.
It's a flawless plan.
Better than that.
It does. I think you're right that the ins and outs of that position may not exactly exist anymore. They are currently sort of defunding the postal service. But like, but for sure, like I lived in a really small town in Northern California for a little bit, and we didn't have postal workers that delivered mail in the town, but we did have a post office where the postal workers worked. And if you had a package that was like big or heavy or whatever, they'd just be like, "You have one. Like, I'm not gonna take it anywhere."
That sounds great. That's kind of what we had. Like the mail carrier was in their own personal vehicle, and it was like a paper route.
Yeah,
In the town where I worked in the steel factory, Fish Creek, Wisconsin. But the post office was staffed by one full-time postal. So that'd be a fun job, just in the post office or something.
Yeah, so you're going to have to really, if you're going to do that, you're going to have to strategize precisely which town a postal office worker is going to die in the next, you know what I mean? Like, because that's the only way they're giving it up.
Scouting them. Got to figure it out.
Those people are doing it until they hit that retirement mark or
yeah,
not.
that kind of, I could just tap out now and be like, all right, I just want to know what amount of work I have every day, and then just go power through it alone and listen to the iPod or whistle to myself. I don't give a shit. Beat my neighbors, drive around, be left alone. And then, you go hang out at the bar afterwards. Everyone's like, hey, it's Jim. Because I changed my name to Jim because that's a great mailman name. Jim, Mailman Jim. I go, that's right.
Man, it's crazy. I'm just remembering now. I had a friend who lived in Western Mass for a little bit, and his life fell apart, like they tend to do. And he tried to get a job. He did, in fact, get a job as a postal carrier. They had a carrier, and he got a day on the job, and he got lost as fuck. I mean, like really lost, because he had to deliver in a post office truck, and it was after spending like a couple lunch breaks with the guy who he was like replacing that he was just like, I can't, I'm gonna be this guy, and I can't. He had to let it go, which is
oh no.
Anyway, I'm just saying there might be there. I take it back that that
you think that guy
post. What's up?
Chase, you think that guy's dead and Rick can have his job? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, good. Western. That's near Vermont, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got some family out there. I could just go.
We got hot leads on this podcast.
Hot leads on dying mailmen.
All right. Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
If anyone knows of any dying mailmen, let me know.
Give him a shout. Well, Rick, if they were to give you a shout for any reason, including dying mailmen, and they wanted to find you on the internet, is there places you'd like to be found?
Not really, but I guess you could still go to my website. I think it's still up, rick-wood.com. I'm no longer on Twitter and Instagram. Maybe I'll come back. I did have an album out, but the release time was a bit, that's been rescheduled.
Okay.
But it's going to be out.
I don't know. We'll see. It did come out briefly, and then the world, which already seemed packed to the gills with news, really got then civil unrest came to America, which is good. There's more important things happening in the country than me having said a bunch of dick jokes in a comedy club.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Keep an eye. Just keep Googling Rick Wood and the psychic life coach and come to me instead.
Yeah, give it a whirl. And we'll put Rick's website in the show notes, so you don't have to quite Google as much. You can just click it. I mean, and when it comes out, I'll listen to it. Thank you, Rick, very much.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Rick. It's been a good time.
All right, well, thanks so much, Rick, again, and fuck this place.
Yeah, fuck this. All right.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Don't forget to share the podcast and subscribe. Rick has had his album come out. The links to the stream of those albums is in the show notes for Apple Music and for Spotify. Check it out and remember what it was like to just be around people. Okay, that's it. Bye for now.